American Idol has been on the air for well over 2 decades, but most of its winners' careers lasted less than a tenth of that time. That may be because the reality show has very little reality to it at all. American Idol seems like a pretty straightforward concept. If you perform well, the judges will praise you, and you'll go far in the competition. If you don't, you'll probably reach the end of the line pretty quickly. Either way, everyone who tries out wants to hear one thing.
You're going to Hollywood!
But according to a blog post by Season 10 contestant Maria Saint, Idol contestants who make it past their auditions actually get a pretty good sense of their future in the contest before they even go to Hollywood. After talking to other contestants, she deduced that each golden ticket comes with a coded letter. A Y means yes, and that it seems possible this contestant will make it to the finals. A K suggests that someone's good enough to make it at least a few rounds in after Hollywood week. Then there's N, which means no. Contestants who get an N aren't expected to cut the mustard, and odds are the judges have already decided they're not good enough to get past Hollywood. Saint warned, if you're an N and you want to see the process and you're okay with the fact that you may be humiliated and that's all right with you, then by all means, take the chance of a lifetime experience. She also mentioned a star marking, which means the contestant either has a special story worth sharing or the producers think they deserve to make it to Hollywood week or beyond. Either way, this peek behind the curtain takes away some of the magic that makes those golden tickets so coveted. If someone asked you to name every American Idol winner, how many could you list?
Maybe 1?
For a show that's supposed to be a launching pad for rising pop stars, very few of its victors have seen long-term success. Sure, showrunners got lucky with Kelly Clarkson in the first season, and Carrie Underwood became a household name after season 4, but there really haven't been any Idol winners who have even touched that level of fame since. Season 5 winner Taylor Hicks might have seemed like an outlier when his debut album was a relative flop, but some of the winners that came after that fell even flatter. Funny enough, there might be more American Idol runners-up with lasting careers than there are winners. Just look at Jennifer Hudson, Chris Daughtry, Clay Aiken, and Adam Lambert if you need proof. That's not exactly unusual in reality talent competitions, but it's pretty telling that most of the people who've won a show dedicated to breaking musicians into the mainstream probably wouldn't get recognized walking down the street. Season 8 of American Idol came down to 2 singers with totally different styles. Adam Lambert became the overwhelming favorite by combining his natural charisma with over-the-top performances and quickly stole the hearts of fans and judges. From his now iconic Idol audition to his unique takes on songs like Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire, he seemed destined for stardom. Meanwhile, Chris Allen, the other finalist, was practically Lambert's polar opposite. He mainly specialized in understated acoustic performances, and he beat the odds just by making the finals. So when Allen wound up winning, people almost immediately began questioning how legitimate his victory was. Apparently, representatives from Idol telecommunications partner AT&T showed voters from Allen's home state of Arkansas how to send power texts. These allowed fans to cast upwards of 10 votes with just one message, and may have given Allen an unfair advantage. AT&T later confirmed to CNN that some of its Arkansas-based employees did indeed get carried away while promoting Allen at local watch parties. They said, caught up in the enthusiasm of rooting for their hometown contestant, they brought a small number of demo phones with them and provided texting tutorials to those who were interested. For their part, Fox vehemently denied that there was any skewed voting. They said, in no way did any individuals unfairly influence the outcome of the competition. It turns out big companies aren't the only ones who can throw off Idol's voting system. In 2004, Dave Della Terza started the website Vote for the Worst. As the name suggests, its goal was to make a joke of the competition by encouraging fans to deliberately vote for the least talented performers on the show. This came to a head during season 6, when the site ran its most infamous and successful campaign with contestant Sanjaya Malakar. Malakar received consistent criticism for his lackluster singing and unorthodox fashion statements, but made it all the way to 7th place in 2007. Sadly, much of this success was thanks to the website.
I'm trying to look at the bright side here, because I didn't think it was very good.
Aside from Malakar, Vote for the Worst endorsed contestants like Season 4's Scott Savel and Season 9's Tim Urban, who admitted to feeling unhappy that the website gave him so much support. Vote for the Worst soldiered on until 2013. when De La Terza confirmed that he would be shutting down the site after season 12 of Idol due to the show's dying popularity and declining influence on the music industry at large.
You're a star now.
Apparently.
In the early days of American Idol, contestants could choose practically any song they wished when performing in themed rounds. And while this freedom allowed them to showcase their individuality, producers weren't too happy with some of the more obscure choices contestants picked. So Idol made some changes in season 7, forcing contestants to pick from a pre-approved list of about 50 songs for those rounds. According to executive producer Nigel Lithgow, the decision was all about developing a deeper audience connection. He told Buffalo News, "Asking America to vote on a performer they don't know with the possibility of a song they don't know we felt was not right, and there were some strange songs. In fairness, putting some restrictions on song choices does make sense. A good song choice can allow a less obviously skilled performer to shine, but a bad one can cause a top performer to crash out of the competition completely. And if contestants could choose anything, that runs the risk of them performing songs so obscure that the vast majority of viewers won't even know them. At the same time, lots of the people who watch Idol are music lovers, and a good cover could pull a decades-old song from obscurity and introduce it to younger generations. We've already seen how pop culture can achieve this on other shows in recent years, and completely eliminating this possibility seems like it could be a big mistake." Nothing signals that the show's ratings are tanking like a pointless feud between the program's stars. Now, we all know American Idol isn't as popular as it once was, so the showrunners were bound to give this angle a shot at some point. But weirdly enough, American Idol opted to stir up a beef between the judges, not the contestants. During the regional auditions for season 12, Mariah Carey and Nicki Minaj kicked off a bitter feud when Minaj pounded her fist on the table when she felt Carey got too chatty with a contestant. The sniping between the two was on full display in the season 12 premiere, as Carey poked fun at Minaj's feathered hat.
You guys are from New York?
My dog. Like, we can have accessories. I didn't know that was allowed.
Sure, it made for spicy television, but it was entirely fabricated. While appearing on the Kyle and Jackie O show in 2015, Carey revealed their rivalry was nothing but manufactured drama. She said, "I'm not going to get into what it was, but let's just say I don't think they had any intentions for us to have a good experience doing that show. Pitting two females against each other wasn't cool." During his time on American Idol, Simon Cowell may have given fans more of a reason to tune in than the contestants themselves. With his trademark brutal honesty mixed with healthy doses of sarcasm and dry British humor, Cowell never minced words with performers if they weren't cut out for the bright lights of Hollywood.
Where do you start? It was so bizarrely dreadful. Really?
Sure, there were times when his constructive criticism bordered on bullying, but it was all part of his brand as the mean judge. In fact, a former Fox executive later revealed that Cowell's attitude was just for the cameras. Speaking at a press event in 2022, former Fox president of alternative entertainment Mike Darnell explained that Cowell had already built up a similarly harsh reputation on the UK's pop idol in the early 2000s. So he was handpicked to play a similar role on the show's American version, but he had to be even more scathing.
Well, I presume there was no mirror in your dressing room tonight.
Darnell told Deadline, Simon Cowell learned the character. Underneath, he's a different character. Watch Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent now, and he's a much softer version now. When he was on Idol, Cowell was a good judge who was often in the right, even if it meant hurting contestants' feelings. But learning that his harsh ways were mostly an act does lend a lot of credence to the argument that American Idol isn't as real as a reality show should be. Performances aside, people like Cowell and Randy Jackson were great picks for judges because they each had enough experience in the music industry to know what the heck they were talking about. But for every one of those qualified judges, there were others who had no business helping America decide the fates of Idol contestants. And when you're talking underqualified American Idol judges, you have to start with Ellen DeGeneres.
Ellen, what's your ramble on this?
Ryan, I don't ramble anymore. Although I do love that song Ramblin' Man by the Allman Brothers. I used to think that they were the Almond Brothers.
If you don't remember her brief stint as an Idol judge, we don't blame you. We wish we could forget it too. Even DeGeneres herself admitted to Howard Stern that joining Idol was a huge mistake, and that she had a hard time delivering feedback to the show's contestants. She recalled, "As a fan of the shows, it doesn't matter that I sing or I know anything about pitch. I'm like everybody else at home, so I thought I'm going to represent those people at home that have opinions. But then I just thought, like Howard says, I can't break this person's heart. Let somebody else do that.
God, that was great. That was great.
Unlike DeGeneres, Cara DioGuardi had industry experience as a singer-songwriter, but her time on Idol wasn't much better. She received flack for her stiff demeanor and frequent faux pas. Famously, she called the New York nightclub Studio 54 Studio 57 and mistakenly called Cryin' an early Aerosmith song when it came out in 1993. She left the show after just 2 seasons, and very few people complained. American Idol fans know the drill with this one. While many contestants have genuinely touching backgrounds, American Idol tends to overhype particularly sad stories to the point that they feel more important than the actual singing. For example, Season 8's Danny Gokey got a lot of attention for trying out just weeks after his wife's death from congenital heart disease. Then there was Season 10's Chris Medina, whose fiancé was wheelchair-bound after a brain injury. Both proved to be talented singers, but as Season 8 hopeful Juno Joyner told ABC News, the focus on their sad stories made Idol feel more like a sensationalist talk show than a singing contest. He observed, "I think it wouldn't be so sickening if it were across the board. If everyone got the same exposure, the same coverage. I think it's really unfair when you don't spread the love around to everyone." But over a decade later, Idol still hasn't learned its lesson. In 2024, a Redditor complained about this exact issue, writing, "This show is supposed to be a distraction from the troubles of everyday life, not make the viewer break down while watching." Even worse than the show's fixation on sad stories is the fact that some of those tales are pretty tall. Many American Idol hopefuls have tried to take advantage of the show's love for dark backstories by telling half-truths or outright lies to earn brownie points with the judges. Season 12's Matt Farmer showed up to his audition with his young daughter, where he discussed the traumatic brain injury he got while serving in Iraq. Farmer's rendition of "A Change Is Gonna Come" impressed the judges, and he received a golden ticket. But soon after Farmer's audition aired, several of his fellow soldiers took to the internet to say he lied about his time in Iraq. Farmer claimed he was hit by an improvised explosive device, but allegedly that's not true. In fact, he was accused of engaging in some pretty shady behavior while he was deployed. Multiple soldiers stated that Farmer had an allergic reaction after mixing alcohol with his acne medication, both of which were forbidden, and later snitched on everyone he was drinking with. Farmer, who was medically discharged soon after that incident, ultimately admitted in a statement that his Idol story was all lies, and he was removed from the competition.